Hello there and welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing a makeover on this dresser that I recently picked up at the thrift store. It has so many great features like the divided top drawer. I love the hardware and of course all the detailing on the front. However, the old finish is scratched, it's watermarked, so I'm going to go ahead and restain it and then I'll style it up. The first thing I did was remove all the drawers and the hardware, and I put those off to the side because I think I'm going to try to do a two-tone look on this dresser. Then I dug out my new favorite furniture stripper. It's called Ready Strip Advanced. When in storage, this stripper likes to separate, so you need to make sure to give it a good stirring before you start applying it to your project. So I am just using a basic chip brush to apply a nice thick coat to the top of the dresser. I'm going to be working in stages. I'm going to do the top of the dresser first, and then I'll start working on the base. Working in sections like this makes this job so much easier for a person like myself who is jumping from task to task all day long. Once I had the whole top of the dresser covered, I let it sit for an hour, and by then it was looking like this. So then I took my paint scraper, or in this case I'm using a 3-in-1 tool, and I scraped off all of the stripper. As I'm working on this step, I'm careful not to dig my tool into the wood, which can easily happen. Just a very light touch was all that was really needed, just to run it along the top of the surface, and that pretty much did the trick. Every now and then I might have to scrub a little harder in certain sections, but for the most part it came up very easy. On the sides I used a small wire brush. This works great for corners, curved areas, or small areas you can't get a putty knife into. I also ran it along the top section before I cleaned up the whole area with some warm water. I then moved on to the second section, which is the sides and the front of the dresser, where I just repeated the same steps, and finally I moved on to the third section, which is the front of the drawers. And then it was time to sand the whole thing down. I started out with a coarse grit sandpaper, followed up by a fine grit sandpaper, and I used a combination of both my electric sander, as you can see here, and then just a small piece of sandpaper to get into all those little nooks and crannies. The next step is to add some stain. I'm using this cherry color number 235 by Minwax, and I'm applying it with a chip brush. I'm working on little sections, and once I've applied all the stain in that section, then I take a rag and wipe off the excess. I'm using the stain only on the sides and the front of the dresser. For the top of the dresser and the front of the drawers, I'm going to be keeping the raw wood. I am hoping for a slight variation in color, however this wood is staining much darker than I anticipated it to, so it's going to be kind of a gamble, but I'm going to go for it and we'll see what we come up with. For the top and the drawer fronts, I'm using Duraclear's Ultra Matte Varnish, which is one of my favorite top coats, and I'm just applying it with a chip brush. I used 2 coats of the varnish, making sure to sand lightly in between coats, and I thought that did a great job of covering the raw wood. I will make sure to add this and all the other products that I used in today's video down in the description box for your reference if you're interested. And when I was finished, this is what the dresser looked like, and I am absolutely loving how it turned out. I think it is really cool how the raw wood on all the drawer fronts is slightly different in color. I think it makes it very interesting and very unique, so I am loving that. And of course, I am so pleased that it works perfectly for what I wanted it to, and that is being a bedside table for my husband's side of the bed. And of course, I had to decorate it, so I thought I would share that with you as well. I started off with this candle holder from Hobby Lobby, which I found a while back, a candy dish for some late night snacks, and this gorgeous painting, which I absolutely love. I found that at the thrift store a while back. On the opposite side, I added a few things alongside his oh so necessary alarm clock. As a base, I used this beautiful book that I recently found at the thrift store. Then I added this vintage picture from an antique store, and then some flowers from my garden. I mixed some hydrangeas with some bright and beautiful zinnias, which are a favorite, and I love how this simple arrangement came together. It looks fabulous on top of the dresser, and I couldn't be more pleased with how it turned out. I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments, and of course hit that like and subscribe button. Have yourself a fabulous day, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye now.